I'm David, and I planted a church in the city of Juarez, Mexico, about 8 years ago with my wife, Michelle. Some of y'all got to meet her last year. She wasn't able to come this year, so I brought the next prettiest person in the church with us, which is our student pastor, JJ, and so he got to come out and be with me. We started a church in an old bar on a main street in Juarez, Mexico, and it's a little bit out of the box to go that route, but we've also done some other things that have kind of been a little crazy. We have a jiu-jitsu program in our church that has over 80 kids that participate in it. They come in every week for about 4 times a week and do classes with us. And in a neighborhood with 3 cartels running the street, it's a little bit comforting to have some confidence when you get to walk home in the evening. And so kids come in, they get to learn a little self-defense, and they get to hear the gospel every time. We pay a local family to cook a meal for them, and some of those kids, it's the only thing they'll eat that day. And so we get to feed them spiritually, physically, emotionally in that time with them. And then we also started a coffee company just off of a wild dream that my wife had in one moment. And she ate some bad taquitos or something, and then she had this dream the next day that we should start coffee to provide work for families. And we knew nothing about coffee, but we did it, and it now provides jobs for 7 different families in our church. And we're on track to sell like 1,600 pounds of coffee this year, and so the Lord's really used that to be able to pour into the community, and that everything from that coffee goes right back into the cafe that now serves our local community Sunday to Sunday. I want to ask you real quick, just if you're in here and you had me at one point in this church, in Sunday school or VBS or on a mission trip, would you put your hand in the air real quick? Just a few people. Yeah. I want to just share with you real quick about generational impact. You poured into me 40-something years ago, and it stuck. It made me part of the man that I am today. JJ is here. When I met JJ at 14 years old, he didn't want to come out of the back room. He didn't want anything to do with the church. And he since gave his life to Christ. He was one of the first people baptized in our church, and now he's our student pastor, leading over 80 kids a week in ministry. Generational impact. About 2 years ago, we had a girl named Donna walk into our church. She came in for a jiu-jitsu program. How's jiu-jitsu going to reach people? We connected with her in jiu-jitsu. And from jiu-jitsu, she got plugged into our student ministry. And a few months later, she was standing on our soccer field with JJ, and she gave her life to Christ. When she gave her life to Christ, she said, "Would you start praying for my parents? Because they're broken in their marriage, and they don't know Jesus." That was almost a year and a half ago. 4 months ago, a guy named Rogelio knocked on my front door of the church. He came in, and he started talking to me. He said, "Something's missing in my life, and I believe I can find it here." And we started talking, and about halfway through the conversation, I learned that his daughter is Donna, that we'd been praying with. Rogelio went and sat down with me for about an hour, and through tears, an hour later, submitted his life to the Lord. And now he's been in our church every Sunday with his wife and younger daughter on his side. Generational impact that started right here in this church. We are grateful for Chestnut Mountain. We're grateful for the way that you poured into me 40 years ago and the way that you're continuing to pour into us now. Thank you very much.